Welcome everyone to Tripp's art class, and today I want to talk to you about using color pencils in my sketchbook. So the color pencils that I like to use are the Crayola Twistables. Now, of course, sometimes I do use the Prismacolor color pencils, but these are fun when I'm on the move. So I can fit them all in this little pencil bag here. And here they are, a nice decent set of the Crayola Twistables. Now, one reason why I like these is because I like to create art on the move. Okay, here's a little piece I'm working on right now, and I have all my color pencils right here. As you can see, here's all of them. And what's neat about these is I don't have to carry a pencil sharpener. I don't have to worry about pencil shavings because you can just twist it. And then you can just kind of take that on a piece of scratch paper, kind of dull it down, and you can have a nice point. Okay, now you can't push incredibly hard because it will break. You can kind of lower it a little bit and you can apply a little bit more pressure. So these are the Crayola Twistables, which, you know, I know they're not like the most professional drawing and coloring tools there are, but these are the ones that I like to do and I use. And I like the colors here as well that you get in this standard pack. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just kind of demonstrate how they work a little bit with this little character that I'm drawing. So I'm looking at this guy, and I mean, he's almost kind of like a Grim Reaper-like character, but I don't want to go super dark because I think this character right here is going to be more like a shadow creature. So I'm going to want to go maybe more like a purple and deal with the purple hues. So I'm going to have a piece of scratch paper here. I always like to have a piece of scratch paper so I can kind of figure out what the colors actually look like. And before I start coloring, I try to go through and sample to get some good colors that I want. So there is a purple. I'll definitely use that one. I'm going to set that one aside, ready to use. Maybe for some of the shadows here, the darker tones in this, maybe some brown. Yeah, I think that works. And you can see I kind of blend them together right there to even see if they work. And you know, I'm experimenting here. Here's more of a maroon color. Let's see how this works. It's a little bit too red. I'm gonna hold that one off. Okay, maybe I can throw in a little bit of blue. This might be too much of a lighter blue. I think it might work a little bit. So I'm gonna have this one ready. Set that one aside. So what I'm doing is I'm setting aside all the ones that I'm actually going to use. And here is some gray. I can probably throw in a little bit of gray for some shading. And maybe another purple. This purple looks a little bit darker. And what I like about these, let's see, if you look at them here, they don't have the company made up color. So, you know, teaching art, I just like to call things what they are. You know, are they purple? Are they blue? Even like a red blue instead of calling it purple. You know, that's an option as well. So, you know, I don't like to come up with all these like unicorn pink, you know. It's like, what the heck is unicorn pink? I don't know. It's like these companies make up these colors and they're just as valid as the company's name. So I like to, you know, you take, you know, if you have red and you have yellow, you know, and you know that it's a mix between the two. It could be orange, you know, or you could call it more yellow orange or red orange, or you know, stuff like that. I think it's simple just to do that. That's my opinion though. So if you like the, you know, fancy company names, go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to go ahead and draw here, or color. Now, when I use color pencils, especially the Crayola Twistables, but really any color pencil, I like to always color in layers. So I think of which parts are going to be darker, and I color there. You kind of go a little bit darker in those darker areas. I'm thinking about that from the beginning, but I'm not really applying the color pencil too much right now. This is layer 1. Typically layer 1 is the color, the main color, or whatever I'm drawing. Now a goal when we're using color pencils is to not let us see, unless if you're like a neo-expressionist, but for the most part, the way I like to color is I don't want people to easily be able to tell which way my pencil is going or which way my pencil went. So as you see here, you don't see really hard pencil strokes going left and right. So the way I do that is I get a flat edge on my color pencil, and then I just use that flat edge. And sometimes you have to create that flat edge on your piece of scratch paper even before you put it on your drawing. Okay. So I'm going to go, and now I need this part to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to actually turn the pencil slightly so it has more of a tip. And it will be darker. Now I want to encourage everyone to listen to music when you draw, when you color, when you make arts, and find some good music that works for you. You probably want something that's going to calm you down. And I haven't read them personally, but I've always heard that music can even affect your heart rates, how fast your heart is beating. If you're listening to something that is very fast and gets you excited, it's gonna have a different effect on you. So in drawing, I mean, that might be great for the gym. It'd be great if you're going on a run, or you're at the very end of your run and you need like some energy to sprint. But for drawing, I would say find something that lowers your heart rates, something that is relaxing. I'm going to go back with my other color. And this is actually a different purple. I always think of Bob Ross when I'm drawing because just his voice alone really relaxed you. Can you imagine doing a Bob Ross painting where he was like screaming, or there was like a loud drum beat in the background? Okay, I'm going to use the blue for some highlights here. And throw in a little bit more color. Maybe a highlight would be not the best word here, but I want a little bit more color. When you're drawing with color pencils, and this is something I always suggest to people, never just use one color. Add some more colors there. We'll throw in some browns. Then I'm going to come back with this gray, this gray color pencil. This one I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure. I'm not going to break anything. I'm not going to break the lead. I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure though. So art, and this is what I tell some of my students, I say that art is such a neat hobby. It's neat because you can do it your whole entire life. When you're old, you can make art. When you're retired, you can make art. When you're young, you can make art. In a lot of ways, art is very portable. You can bring this little sketchbook around with you, a little packet of pencils, and make art many different places. You don't even have to charge a battery to make art. Also, art is pretty affordable too. I mean, now you can spend a lot of money on art if you wanted to. I mean, that's easy to do. But if you don't want to, you can get yourself some color pencils, a pencil, a pen, an eraser. You can be set. You have 1,000 hours worth of a hobby for the cost of a sketchbook and a pencil. It's pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna step back here, look away for a second, focus on something else, give my eyes a rest, and then look back at it. And I'm like, okay, is there anything I want to improve? And yeah, I want to kind of go a little bit darker, I want to add a little bit more shadows. I want this guy to look a little bit more raw and dirty and eerie. You might be thinking, man, it takes them forever. And it's like, yeah. I always think, not always, but a lot of times, great art, not that this is great art, but great art requires a great amount of time. It's one thing neat about art is you look at it and you're like, man, not only is that a drawing, but it's also time. Someone's time and life went into creating that. And time is that one thing that we never ever get back. Doesn't matter how much money you acquire in life, you'll never be able to buy back time. Okay, so I'm looking at that and I'm kind of digging it. Now I'm thinking for the skull, I'm gonna experiment here. I kind of almost want to do something wild. I might do some crazy, this like yellow green color. I'm gonna go ahead and try that. We'll see how this works. It's kind of creepy. Yeah, it is kind of creepy. Throw in this light tan, this peach color as well. Well, it's kind of fun when you're coloring with color pencils. This method is that sometimes people look at it and they say like, hey, what color is that? They don't know. Can't easily say, oh, that's brown or that's blue or that's purple. It's like, I don't know. It's a combination. It's like a combination of things. I'm gonna take my gray, flatten it down here. Add a little bit darker values here for the shading. So a lot of times people, even students of mine, they kind of get discouraged, and I get even discouraged sometimes. And it's like, I'm not where I'm at. I'm not as good as I want to be when it comes to drawing, when it comes to art creation. You know what? If you just stick with it and put in the time, the years will go by, years, before you even know it. You're going to improve so much if you just keep going. I have some of my students come into my high school art class and they're just phenomenal artists. And my other students get really bummed out because they're like, man, I'll never be that good. And you're gonna have to sit them down and say, hey, that high school student right there is 15 years old. And he's been drawing every day of his life since he was 5. That's 10 years of drawing experience that student has. 10 years. So just keep drawing every day and eventually you'll have those 10 years of experience. One thing I have learned about those students, though, the ones that are phenomenal, is they typically all have one very important trait when it comes to art. That is patience. My best artists have always had patience. They were never in a hurry to finish a piece of art. It was like it's almost like the opposite. It's almost like they were sad when they got done. They really enjoyed the process. Okay, what am I going to do for that little middle area right there? I don't know yet, but you know, I want to add a little bit more of this color to the skin. Into the bone. That's what I meant, the bone. Okay, for this little area in between, I was kind of originally planning on going with a red. Get a nice sharp edge there. And for this one, I might do something a little bit different. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it in 1 second. Add a little bit more shading there. Okay, we can come back to that now. I'm going to do something a little bit different for this part. I'm going to pull out a Copic marker. I gotta find the correct Copic marker. I need something that's really small, really fine tip one. So that's what I'm looking for right now. I don't have one of those handy. So I'm gonna pull out a different marker. Pull out some Artify markers. because they have more of a fine tip. And pull out a red, and that's what I want. So this right here is an Artify marker. Okay. Put those away. It's good to stay organized. I like to stay organized when I create. And then I'm going to pull out my regular pen, which is actually a Sharpie. Cover that a little bit. Clean up those lines. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw in a little bit of hatching. I'm not the biggest cross hatcher. I just love regular hatching. Sometimes I'll cross, but I'm going to turn the sketchbook like this. Even add some to the eyes. Or one of my old art teachers said, a lot of times in life, less is more. But art is one of those times when more is more. Always remember that. Go ahead and add some little bit of cross hatching right there. And then I'm going to make this line a little bit thicker. Like that. Okay. So there we go with that fun little character right there. Little lines there. Okay. So that was fun. That guy was fun. As you can see, it does take a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time. You know, I could scribble that in like, 30 seconds, but I really wanted to put in the energy. I wanted to put in the time for that character to try to make him come to life. So thank you so much for hanging out today at Tripp's art class. I encourage you guys to create something. Bust out your sketchbooks, your pencils, your pens, your color pencils, your markers, your watercolors, whatever you have, and let's create at home during this very interesting time in human history where so many of us are stuck at home, just hanging out there. Let's do something productive. Let's do something creative, and let's create. I feel like there's something very special about the process of creating that's kind of created in us. So when we create, we kind of really carry out who we are. So thank you so much for hanging out today. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, or like this video if you liked it. You guys are awesome. We'll catch you later.